One of the nice things about the Millermatic 211 is that you can use it either with 220 or with 110. Sometimes welders will come with either or, and it kind of limits you if you don't have both options available. We're going to be using 110 here at the shop, even though we have 220 available. It's in the other room, and we want to use this in here. So you really, super easy, you just unscrew this. This disconnects, and you can swap it over to the 110. Get it in the right orientation. Just like that. And you're good to go. One of the other first steps that you're going to do is get your ground clamp connected. So this cable was coiled all up inside. We just pull it all the way out, and then simply going to attach this to our ground clamp. When you're welding, obviously you need to be connected to ground, so this is how we're doing that. Basically what we're going to want to do is feed this through here, attach it on, and now when you're welding you attach this to ground and you're able to do what you need to do. All right, cool. Beautiful. We have ground. So now our next step is to connect the MIG torch. And relatively simple, this is going to feed through the front of the machine, like so. I'll pull that through. This is going to go in there. And a little connector gets plugged in right there. You can see that. So the connector is keyed, so it'll only go in one direction. And so it's finding the right matchup, which looks like there. It does not actually push in, it just screws in. So
that's what I wanted to make sure of.
That's it. And that's all she wrote. And then this just gets tightened down once this is all the way in. So basically we fed this in from the front. You can see where it's sliding in to this holder. You want it to go all the way in. So it's going to give you a little bit of resistance, and then it'll push the rest of the way in. And then we're going to tighten this down to hold it in place. Go. And then that's where our wire feed goes through. All right. What else do we got?
Okay, I guess we'll connect our, okay, while we're over here, well actually let's get our hose, our gas connected first.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to getting the spool on.
Okay.
Okay, the two gauges, the first gauge shows, actually, okay, this is the first gauge. The first gauge shows how much pressure is in the tank. The second gauge shows the regulated pressure that's going to go out to the torch. Now one thing that you might want to try, and it's always recommended when you're hooking things up, is to have a little cup with some soapy water in there and to just brush it on your fittings, just to make sure that there's nothing leaking out. Compressed gases, it's not a flammable gas obviously, but it's a very expensive gas. And so we don't want to be wasting our gas, and sometimes you're not going to necessarily hear gas coming out if it's a small leak, but you know, especially, and this is a cardinal rule in welding, whenever you're done, Kirsten knows what I'm talking about, always shut off the gas. And that's one of the reasons why you really want to make sure you don't have leaks. Because if you do forget the gas and you do have leaks that are, you know, here or at the back of the machine, you come into work the next day, gas is empty. You got to go to all gas before you can get any work done.
All right. Unless you write it down. I've been writing it down. There's still, I'm waking up in the middle of the night going, we need fire extinguishers. Totally forgot.
Okay,
Nah.
so we don't
Those are for the week.
this anymore.
It's great.
So, guess we're hooked up there. So let's turn on our gas. See what we've got.
Pressure.
All right. Well, we've got. Come on. Here we go. Okay. Well, looks like our connection's pretty good. Don't see anything. Nothing there. Nope, our bubbles are just sitting there. They're not bubbling. We're in good shape. Yay. Well, I think we're in pretty good shape. Don't have any bubbles. We don't have any air leaks. Let's move on to putting the wire on there, and then we can have some fun.
Next step is installing your wire spool. Now, most likely, if you bought this as a kit, it came with a little 4-inch spool of wire, and that's fine. We know we're gonna be doing a heap of welding over the course of this project, so we went ahead and got a 10-inch spool. Now, you are gonna need to make some adjustments depending on which one you're installing. Obviously, this is where a spool goes. This is not gonna fit on there. So, you can remove this nut, this whole attachment comes off, allowing the smaller 4-inch spool to fit on there. But since we're using the 10-inch, we can go ahead and use the attachment just as we have it. And this will slide right on there. Does it have to go in a specific direction?
Yeah, it has to feed off from the top.
Okay, so
Now you gotta get good.
We're
Hold
gonna-
on so it doesn't unspool. There we go.
we're gonna cut off that part. And we want the wire feeding in a clockwise direction. And then this gets fed through here.
Yes. It's fed through there and it goes into that little spring thing that's called a liner. Okay, so we want to release the tension.
That pops open, allows you to feed through. Make sure it goes into
The liner.
the line. There we
Okay.
go. And then we're just gonna feed it through. Feed it all the way through the line.
And it's always an idea to have your cable kind of like unkinked, not like, looped around, just to make it easier for it to go through. Oh, I can feel it.
Sweet.
It's moving through. Okay, I can watch it.
It's coming. Now it doesn't want to go.
Okay, why is it giving us a...
There we go.
There we go, yeah.
Oops. I've got, is this all the way seated in there? Hello. Suppose we could have tightened this down first. Tighten our spool up. There we go.
All right.
And now we can set our tension.
Okay.
And how do you want to set the tension? So one thing you'll need to do is adjust the tension on your wire. This is controlling how hard this upper wheel is pressing down on the lower wheel and how easily the wire can feed through. So we want to start with just a mild adjustment right at about 2. So it puts just enough tension on it, but not too much.
Okay.
What else we got?
Okay.
Is that, are we like now ready to make magic?
We are ready to
Okay.
make magic as far as I know.
So,
Do we have any steel?
maybe. Stand by.
Oh, don't tease me.
We'll come up with something. So at this point, relatively simple, setting this up from unpacking it out of the box to getting it ready to weld. Only really a couple of things to set up. And then they've got this nice handy guide inside that's going to make it really easy for you, even if you are a total novice, to figure out where you want to set all of the settings on the front, depending on what kind of gas mixture you're using, whether you're using 100% or 75-25, what kind of wire you're using, and what kind of metal you're working with. So it's going to give you a handy dandy guide to kind of get you started, and then you can dial in and fine tune after you do a little practice run and make sure that you're working with the right temperature settings.